Okay. Hi everyone and welcome to our creative podcast for LMCP1632. My name is Mao Yifei.
My name is Xiao Huiqi.
My name is Zhang Jinya.
My name is Guan Bowen.
So today's topic is something that affects almost every young Malaysian. Access to home ownership and how it links to SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. When we talk about young people and housing, we are not just talking about where we live. We're talking about stability, financial security, and the kind of future we want. So today, we want to break everything down in a simple, conversational way.
We are Group 8 set9. Joining me today they are Mao Yifei, our main host, plus Zhang Jingya and Guan Bowen. Together, we have researched how youth experience housing challenges in Malaysia, especially in urban areas.
In the next 50 minutes, we'll cover 4 simple points. The first, why SDG 11 matters for youth and housing. Next, the main challenge young Malaysians are facing, and what the government is currently doing, like iBaya. And the end, and our own suggestions looking ahead to 2030. So let's get started.
So let's begin with the bigger picture. Why housing matters so much and why it's becoming a major concern for young people nationwide.
So let me talk about why SDG 11 and housing. SDG 11 is about making cities exclusive, safe, and sustainable. And housing science right at the heart of that. Because a city cannot claim to be sustainable if majority of young people cannot afford to live it. Urban areas are expanding rapidly, but affordability isn't improving. So SDG 11 isn't just a global thing. It's directly shaping our life experiences here in Malaysia.
If we look at Malaysian data, the house price to income ratio has remained seriously or even seriously unaffordable. In many cities, in some areas, the ratio is around 4 to 5 times annual income. This means prices are growing faster than what young people earn.
When we ask how do young people fit into Malaysia's city future, housing is a central question. If young people cannot afford to live near job centers, cities will become easier for older and higher income groups, but harder for youth. That goes against the idea of CJ11, which wants city to be fair and open for everyone.
Next is home ownership as a basic human need. Owning a home represents more than a property title. It provides a stable living environment, long-term financial security, and social belongings and family well-being. For youth, moving from renting to owning also represents independence, a transition into adulthood and stability.
But this pathway is getting harder. Even if young people work full time, the financial pressure from debts, rising cost of living, and slow wage growth make home ownership feel distant.
The first challenge is the mismatch between house price and income. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, housing reached 4.7 times the median household income, classifying it as seriously unaffordable. This affects both B40 and M40 youth.
Many young Malaysians already have financial commitments such as PD, PTN loans, car payments, and daily expenses. Because of these financial pressures, banks may see them as higher risk borrowers, which makes it harder for them to get housing loans.
And when banks reduce loan amounts or reject applications, youth are forced to delay home ownership, even when they are generally ready to settle down.
For Part C is about home selection challenges. Even if youth qualify for a loan, choosing a home becomes its own struggle. And cheaper homes is far from the city, and it costs longer commutes. The home in better locations is cause the financial strain. Affordability isn't just about buying a house, it's about whether the house supports a reasonable quality of life.
The Part D is about shortage of affordable units and financial literacy. There's also a lack of affordable homes in good locations, and many young people are not very familiar with things like mortgage terms or interest rates, so they don't always know how to plan for long-term housing decisions.
And then it's government policy. iBuyer and Hope. To address these challenges, the Malaysian government introduced iBuyer under Hope in 2022. The goal is support B40, M40, and youth, including gig workers in obtaining housing loans.
iBuyer consists for three main things: housing credit guarantee thing, my first home thing, and rent to own. These aim to reduce down payments, offer guarantees, and provide rent to own pathways.
These policies help, but many young people still feel the process complicated or unclear. Awareness and accessibility remain issues.
The Penang State Government has in fact delivered, as I stated earlier, some 4 times more Types A and B low and low medium cost affordable housing as opposed to the BN government, namely 20,887 units as against their 5,124 units. On top of that, in order to address the shortage of affordable housing under the federal programs such as PRIMA and PPA 1M to Penang, the Penang State Government has in the pipeline at the moment some 14 projects which will see some 26,522 units of various types of affordable housing being built in all the districts in Penang. The Penang State Government has also been closely working with the private sector, whereby we have been incentivizing the development of affordable housing, which has seen a very positive result in that to date some nearly 18,387 units of such various affordable housing has been approved by the state to be built by the private sector. This brings the total unit of various affordable housing for affordable housing type A, low cost at 42,000 ringgit Malaysia, to the latest category of affordable housing type C with a price ceiling of ringgit Malaysia 300,000 that has been built, is being built, and will be built in the next 10 to 15 years in Penang to a grand total at this juncture of 65,796 units. The Minister of Federal Territories, Dato Sri Tunku Adnan Tunku Mansor, should be reminded that the federal government has completely failed to address the main issue of property ownership by first-time home buyers, which is the high bank loan rejection rate. This is a fact which is not denied even by his own counterparts in Penang, whereby at the recently concluded State Assembly sitting, they have agreed to forward a joint motion together with the Penang State Government to the federal government, which includes his ministry, to look into and overcome the issue of this high loan rejection rate for first-time home buyers. Very clearly, it would seem that the Barisan Nasional is completely not in sync with one another at federal and state level. Clearly, the Federal Territories Minister is unaware of what his counterparts had agreed to in Penang. He is also unaware of the fact that they have not denied the Penang State government's announcement in the State Assembly by me of the numbers of the various types of affordable housing, including affordable housing types A and B, low and low medium cost, that has been built, is being built, and that will be built in Penang. Just as he is unaware of that fact amongst his own counterparts, I challenge him to ask them, namely his counterparts in Penang, not just UMNO but also Gerakan, MCA and MIC, if they are agreeable to Penang becoming a federal territory. Clearly, the representatives of UMNO in Penang at this point in time, having regard to their own minister's suggestion that Penang be made a federal territory, have no right to request for a further mandate by way of a general election in Penang and should step down immediately if they agree with this suggestion by their said minister.
And then is our SDG-based solutions. Part 8 is about policy and governance. We propose building a more centralized and transparent housing portal. Youth should be able to compare schemes, check eligibility, and calculate installments easily. We also suggest allocating affordable units in new urban projects, especially for youth.
Financial literacy should be integrated into school and university programs. Budgeting tools, mortgage calculators, and workshops can empower youth to make informed decisions.
And part C is about community-centered and transit-oriented housing. We believe that home built near public transport can really help young people. If housing is close to train stations or bus roads, people will spend less money and time on traveling. This makes it easier to live near work, school, and important service. This kind of planning supports a more sustainable city and improves daily life for young people.
Part D is about transparency and greenhouses. Energy-efficient housing lowers long-term utility bills and contributes to climate goals. Encouraging green building designs benefits both youth and environment.
To summarize again from our decision, young people here face four main challenges. House prices are too high for the average income. Many already have debts and money pressure. Banks are strict with loan approval, and there are not enough affordable homes in good location. Programs like iBuyer do help, but we still need clear information, easier steps, and stronger support for first-time buyers.
We believe youth can take proactive steps, learning about financial planning, exploring existing schemes, and preparing earlier.
Meanwhile, governments and developers must focus on transparency, fair collection, and sustainability.
If youth, policymakers, and communities work together, we can move closer to a future where every young Malaysian has the chance to own a safe, affordable home.
Thank you for tuning on to our podcast. We hope this conversation helps you better understand your own housing journey.